Hello. The first explicit reference to the Robin Hood of popular legend appears in William Langland's 1377 poem Piers Plowman. It's highly likely ballads and tales were circulating long before. The Exchequer Pipe Roll of 1230 names a fugitive called Rob Hood in Yorkshire, although later tales locate the legendary outlaw in Sherwood Forest in the East Midlands. Plenty of criminal gangs operated in the period to provide prototypes, and if not so altruistic as the hero of folklore, they were seen by many as on the side of the common people against a corrupt establishment, directing their attacks on legitimate targets. Many gangs had family connections. In January 1326, Eustace Folville, accompanied by two brothers and a cousin Udo Zouche, waylaid and stabbed to death Roger Bella, a judge in the court of the Exchequer and a close friend of Hugh Despenser, the royal chamberlain and favourite of King Edward II, near the village of Rearsby in Leicestershire. They were outlawed but escaped arrest by fleeing abroad to Paris. This alabaster effigy of a knight in armour, occupying a recess in the south aisle of St Peter's Church, Kirby Bellas, is thought to be Roger Bella. Many English nobles opposed to Edward II had gathered in France at the time, joining Edward's estranged wife, Queen Isabella, and her lover, Roger Mortimer, Earl of March, who were planning a coup. Within months, Eustace and his accomplices were back in England, most probably with Isabella's forces. King Edward was swiftly deposed and pardons were granted for the murder of Roger Bella. Eustace Folville and four brothers, along with Udo Zouche and his brothers Roger and Ralph, then embarked on a crime spree. Robbery with violence and abduction for ransom were their stock in trade. The Folvilles were landed gentry from Ashby Folville in Leicestershire and with a manor at Tea in Rutland. Their cousins, the Zouche brothers from Lubbersthorpe on the outskirts of Leicester, also came from a well-off family. Another Folville brother, John, who was not involved in the criminal activities of his siblings, was a keeper of the peace in Leicestershire, which made the Folville gang largely untouchable in their home county. Within 2 years of his return to England, Eustace Folville had been charged with 4 murders, 1 count of rape and 3 robberies, probably only the tip of a criminal iceberg. Signing up to help put down a rebellion by the Earl of Lancaster in 1328 earned another pardon and a clean slate. Like a medieval A-team, the Folvilles hired out as mercenaries. The monks of Sempringham Priory in Lincolnshire, who had allowed the priory to be used as an occasional hideout by the gang, employed them to destroy a rival watermill. In 1332, the Folvilles joined forces with another notorious East Midlands gang, the Coterels, led by James Coterel and his brothers John, Nicholas and Lawrence. The Coterels had been indicted and named in petitions many times for a spate of crimes, and having failed to appear before the courts, had been outlawed and were living in Sherwood Forest, then much more extensive, and in the High Peak area of Derbyshire. Again, they did not come from a poor family. The Coterels owned land in Derbyshire, for which they continued to have rents collected and delivered to them along with supplies. The Coterel gang included clergy, much as in the ballads Robin Hood as Friar Tuck. Reverend Robert Bernard had been removed as vicar of All Saints Church, Bakewell, in Derbyshire, for stealing church funds. After arrest, he claimed benefit of clergy and was sent to appear before the consistory court at York, where he took an oath of innocence and was acquitted. He had previous form. Earlier, as registrar at Lichfield Cathedral in Staffordshire, he had been imprisoned for misappropriating money intended for poor relief. The Folvilles and the Coterels teamed up to kidnap Sir Roger Willoughby, a judge of whom it was said he sold the laws of the land like cattle. Willoughby was robbed and held for ransom. 3 senior judges from the royal courts, Geoffrey Le Scrope, John Stoner and William the Earl were put on the case. The gang went into hiding in the Forest of the High Peak. The leaders evaded capture, but around 200 fringe members were arrested. Few convictions were secured. The gang had widespread support amongst ordinary people, plus friends in high places. Juries may have been sympathetic or feared reprisals. Willoughby was later charged with corruption, bought a royal pardon for 1,200 marks and was reappointed to the bench. A couple of the gang met sticky ends. Lawrence Coterel was killed resisting arrest. Richard Folville took over leadership from Eustace, was caught by the sheriff's men inside Holy Trinity Church at Tea, the church of which he was rector, and was taken out and beheaded in 1341. Over time, the other main players all received pardons and gave up a life of crime. Nicholas Coterel was appointed bailiff of the Forest of the High Peak. Eustace, a good soldier who fought with distinction against the Scots, received a full pardon in 1333 and died peacefully in his bed, aged around 60. Despite all the charges against him, Eustace Folville had never faced trial. He's buried in St Mary's Church, Ashby, Folville. Next time, and bringing this series to an end, Magna Carta. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons and click on the notification bell to be informed when the next video is available, or you can subscribe by clicking on the rose window over my shoulder.